The more famous you are, the more you have to hide. Behind the glittering suits and radiant red carpet smiles lies a psychological inferno. Some lived their entire lives not because they wanted to, but because society demanded it. In Hollywood. 19. Black celebrities' iconic figures celebrated worldwide married people of the opposite sex, not out of true love. Beneath those wedding rings are shocking secrets about their sexuality. Torment, sleepless nights, fear of exposure. Some fell into depression. Others nearly lost their careers. The secrets about to be revealed will completely change how you see them. 19. Little Richard. When a rock and roll legend tried living a life against his true self. Little Richard, an irreplaceable rock and roll icon, defined a generation of rebellion. More than a brilliant singer and songwriter, he was a trailblazing flame, torching boundaries between gospel and wild stage performances. He shook American music with his bold style, explosive voice, and unmatched charisma. But few know that behind this dazzling name was a man desperately trying to live against his true self. In 1957, Little Richard met Tevin Campbell at a Los Angeles revival meeting. At the time, he was in a spiritual crisis, torn between swirling fame and a desire to be cleansed and live as a devout follower. Tevin entered like a calm anchor, a lifeline he clung to amid life's chaos. They married in 1959, hoping faintly that marriage would bridge him to normalcy. But things didn't go as planned. Returning to the stage, Richard dove back into his old whirlwind flamboyant living, glittering outfits, late nights away. Tevin endured, but she couldn't pretend forever. Each time she saw her husband in the press with companions, she faced a painful truth. Richard wasn't the man for her world. In 1962, a minor incident, him being spotted with a young man after a show, became the final straw. In 1993, they quietly divorced. Richard tried, but he couldn't force himself to play a role that wasn't him. It wasn't until 1995 that he publicly acknowledged his true sexuality. By then, he had no lasting love, no family, no one by his side in his final days. In the room where he died, only a small photo was found tucked in an old Bible, his wedding picture with Tevin. Perhaps, though incomplete, that relationship was a memory of a time he searched for his true self. 18. Alice Walker, a lover caught between two revolutions. Alice Walker is one of the greatest icons of African American literature. Her novel, The Color Purple, transcended borders, not just for its sharp prose, but for her fearless exposure of raw truths about gender, race, and the right to exist authentically. As a writer, poet, and activist, Alice never shied from truth, even when it made the world uncomfortable. In the summer of 1965, Mississippi burned with racial violence. Yet a dangerous love sparked amid the battle. Alice met Melvin Rosenman Leventhal, a white lawyer tirelessly fighting for black rights. They didn't unite for romance, but for a shared cause. In 1967, they married a union rejected by both communities. A black-white couple in the American South was like sitting on a ticking bomb. They had a daughter, Rebecca, in an era where stepping outside meant facing threats and assaults. Melvin buried himself in legal work, while Alice wrote with possessed fervor. Each page was a slap to a discriminatory society. But that intensity tore their family apart. Melvin wanted a home. Alice wanted to shatter all limits, even that home, if it felt stifling. The more they loved, the further they drifted. By 1976, their marriage crumbled silently. No one was wrong, just reality was too harsh. Nearly 20 years later, Alice shocked the public by revealing she was bisexual. Rumors swirled that she'd loved singer Tracy Chapman. No one saw them hand in hand, but it was felt in her poetry, her gaze, the fragmented memoirs she left. That love didn't last. Maybe Tracy left. Maybe Alice couldn't hold anyone long, as she herself refused to be held. Now, Alice lives alone. No husband, no partner. But in every page she's written, you hear the heartbeat of a woman who dared to love, live, and sacrifice everything to be herself. 17. Lee Daniels, calling cut, but life has no retakes. Lee Daniels is no stranger to Hollywood. The African-American director and producer behind hits like Precious and Empire didn't just create groundbreaking films, he pioneered breaking stereotypes about race, gender, and the raw truths behind the stage lights. But behind the glamour was a personal life once caged by fear and inner conflict. In 1992, Lee Daniels lived the American dream to a Tia wife, 2 adopted children, Clara and Liam, and a quiet suburban home. But that dream wasn't built on love, it was born of panic. He married a woman to hide himself, in an entertainment world rife with prejudice. Coming out as gay, especially as a black man, could end a career. His wife knew, but clung to hope that love and children could change something Lee hadn't even faced himself. In 1996, as his directing career took off, Lee vanished for nearly 3 weeks. He lived in a weekly rental with a stranger, not for love, but to breathe, returning. He said nothing. His wife didn't wait anymore. She quietly left the house. Then the marriage. The divorce was hushed but painful. She left a final note: don't live half a life. He stayed with his kids. Clara had mild autism, and Lee learned to be a real father. Sleepless nights with a crying child were harder than filmmaking. Once, in a hospital holding his daughter, Lee broke down. By the early 2000s, he couldn't take it anymore. He came out as gay. He couldn't pretend any longer. He shared his failed marriage, his fear of Hollywood's rejection, and the loneliness no one understood. But contrary to his fears, his career soared. Precious wasn't just a film, it was a scream for those cast out of life like he once was. Then he met Jahil Fisher, and the 2 men quietly built a life together. Jahil wasn't a savior, but the first person Lee didn't have to hide from. That was enough. At 66, Lee Daniels finally lives authentically after years of acting in his own life. 16. Whitney Houston, a whirlwind of same-sex love. Behind the spotlight. Whitney Houston was the biggest black music icon of the 80s and 90s, an unmatched voice, a record-breaking debut album. She was America's voice, a Hollywood golden girl, and the most awarded female artist of her time. But few knew that from her early music days, Whitney lived 2 lives. One was the star adored worldwide. The other was a woman hiding her true love for over 20 years. On stage and backstage, Whitney wasn't the same person. In 1980, before fame, she fell for Robin Crawford, her best friend, assistant, and, as the world later learned, her first and only true love she trusted. They hid everything, fearing too much. But their secret romance ended in 1987 as Whitney neared her peak. Her mother, a strict gospel singer, forced her to choose between career and love. Whitney chose her career. She gave Robin a gift, then silently sent her love away from the private world they'd built through sacrifice. In 1992, she married Bobby Brown, a rebellious R&B star. The media called them a power couple. In reality, it was a 15-year nightmare. Violence, drugs, late-night fights. Whitney coughed blood but still performed. Robin stayed, managing behind the scenes, hoping to save a piece of her love's soul. But she eventually gave up, unable to watch Whitney destroy herself to please others. The 2007 divorce saved nothing. Whitney's daughter, Bobby Christina, grew up amid drugs and a broken family. Then, in 2012, Whitney was found dead in a hotel bathtub, drugs in her system. A predictable end. Robin didn't attend the funeral. She refused to cry amid a fake crowd. Later, she wrote one line for the woman she loved. She died from denying herself her whole life. What haunts most isn't how Whitney died, it's that she was never allowed to live as herself. 15. Wanda Sykes, fake smiles behind the comedian's mask. Wanda Sykes is one of America's most prominent black comedians, starring in hit TV shows, winning an Emmy, and becoming an icon of wit, sharpness, and fearless truth on stage. But there was a truth she took over half her life to face. In 1991, Wanda married Dave Hall in a picture-perfect wedding, except for her feelings. The handshakes, the toasts, all seamless, soulless. Their wedding night felt like a business meeting, cold and forced. Wanda didn't know what role she was playing in her life, but it wasn't herself. Waking up beside Dave, she felt like she was in a too tight suit, suffocating, forcing smiles and jokes to hide the voids. They shared a house but lived in separate worlds. No touching, no sharing. Just two people trying to meet society's expectations. Wanda tried to normalize her feelings, forcing herself to love, writing jokes about men, pretending everything was fine. But the harder she tried, the emptier she felt. She made audiences laugh on stage, but curled up alone in her apartment, haunted by a nameless loneliness. In 1998, the marriage ended. No fights, no disputes, just two people admitting nothing real ever existed between them. Wanda left with a fear she'd never live as herself. It wasn't until 2006, meeting Alex on a vacation, that things changed. Alex stood by her, steady and patient. For the first time, Wanda saw a life without pretending. 2 years later, amid debates over same-sex marriage, Wanda took the stage and revealed what she'd hidden for decades. She was gay. The crowd erupted, and she felt unburdened, shedding a 1,000-pound weight. Marrying Alex, raising twins. Wanda entered a new phase. Nothing left to hide. She was finally living authentically. 14. Monique, Torment, Behind the Laughter. Monique is one of America's most prominent comedians and actresses. An Oscar winner, she's a symbol of boldness, unapologetic grit, and defiance against injustice. But her life holds a complex story of marriage and sexuality she kept secret for decades. In 1997, she entered her first marriage with Mark Jackson, trying to play the perfect wife, mother, and woman society expected. She had a child, worked tirelessly, tried to love the man beside her. But the harder she tried, the more distorted it felt. Intimacy became a burden. Every embrace felt like a role. The only reason to stay was her young child. 4 years later, they quietly parted. But the split didn't free her from feeling like she was living a lie. She threw herself into work, won an Oscar, became a TV powerhouse. Everyone saw a funny, commanding Monique. No one saw the sleepless nights, haunted by the memory of a woman who made her heart race, a feeling she never dared name. In 2006, she married Sidney Hicks, the only person she felt didn't need explanations for her feelings. She told him she'd been attracted to women since childhood, but was terrified by family, religion, and a harsh industry. Sidney didn't flinch or judge. They agreed to an open marriage. It sounded like freedom, but was a gray zone. She still hid, even when allowed to be herself. Then, in 2023, on her show My Name is Monique, she stood under stage lights and said what she'd never dared before a crowd: she was queer. She'd loved a woman. She'd felt wrong for those feelings. Now, she felt no guilt. The audience was stunned. Her heart was light. She realized the greatest pain wasn't loss, but living with torment for something that wasn't her fault. 13. Niecy Nash, a third marriage and a love story she never dared tell. Niecy Nash is one of Hollywood's brightest stars, beloved for her undeniable charm and talent. She built a solid comedy career and earned industry acclaim. But behind her on-screen smiles, Niecy faced intense inner struggles. In 1994, Niecy entered her first marriage with Don Nash, a kind pastor, embodying the perfect American family everyone envied. They had 3 children, lived in a loving home. But beneath the veneer, it wasn't perfect. Despite having it all, part of her felt empty. Life revolved around others' expectations, leaving no space for her own truth. When her marriage to Don ended in 2007, there was no drama, just unspoken exhaustion. She hadn't betrayed him, and he'd done no wrong. But they'd become strangers under one roof. That emptiness grew, leading to her second marriage to Jay Tucker in 2011. He was a calm, gentle engineer. But this time, change didn't bring freedom. It brought loss of self. Niecy hid a part of her, a strange attraction to women, suppressed since childhood. In 2020, Niecy divorced Jay. Though quiet, the truth was clearer than ever. She couldn't hide anymore. One day in the kitchen, when Jay asked if she was okay, Niecy shook her head. She could no longer suppress her dream of a woman she'd met, Jessica Betts, someone who made her feel truly seen. They met working together, and though there wasn't instant romance, lingering glances and unspoken feelings grew over years. When her divorce was announced, the public assumed Niecy was seeking true happiness. No one expected it was with a woman, Jessica. Their 2020 marriage shocked the world. Niecy didn't come out, but spoke of love unbound by gender labels. This truth wasn't just accepting her love for Jessica, but defending it against scrutiny from the public, family, and her children. Jessica became her partner, her love, and someone she shielded from criticism. After everything, walking the red carpet hand in hand, Niecy no longer forced smiles. She breathed freely, finally living as herself. 12. Cheryl Swoopes, Queen of the Court and a Caged Heart. Cheryl Swoopes is an American basketball icon, one of the WNBA's greatest athletes. She wasn't just a star with countless accolades, but a pioneer in fighting for personal freedom, coming out as gay in 2005. Her journey is not just a triumphant career, but a story of facing herself and reclaiming freedom. In 1995, Cheryl married Eric Jackson, a basketball coach she believed would be her life's anchor. They had a son, Jordan, and from the outside, their family was perfect. Cheryl was a basketball pride, shining both on the court and in her personal life. But late at night, alone in the locker room, she couldn't recognize herself. She wasn't the same. Her marriage crumbled as she couldn't live the role society and family demanded. After their 1999 divorce, Cheryl entered a phase of mounting conflict. Her life off the court was glamorous, but inside, she was a mess. She hid a part of herself she couldn't ignore. In 2005, she came out, refusing to live in shadows. Her ESPN. The magazine interview made her one of the first WNBA athletes to come out as gay. But behind that courage was another battle: lost contracts, public prejudice, and whispers from colleagues. She began a relationship with Alyssa Scott, a woman who loved her without demanding change. But their love wasn't easy. External pressures and sports world homophobia tested them. At times, Cheryl felt drained. Once, she drove alone to Colorado to scream into the mountains, unable to bear more. Their love ended from exhaustion and isolation in an uncomprehending world. After Alyssa, Cheryl didn't publicly date again. Standing on the court for honors, she learned to stand alone, no longer lonely. Supporters and detractors were there. But for Cheryl, what mattered was reclaiming herself. 11. Robin Roberts, From Fake Romances to a Marriage That Stunned America. Robin Roberts, an American TV icon, is the familiar voice of millions on Good Morning America. She wasn't just the first Black morning TV anchor to make history, but an inspiration for overcoming illness and prejudice. In the 80s and 90s, Robin was often seen with men handsome, successful, seemingly perfect for a rising star. But behind the press photos was a woman staring in the mirror each night, unsure who she was in that world. She didn't love them. She was doing what society demanded. No engagements, no weddings, just fleeting romances to fill a void she couldn't name. It wasn't until 2012, facing a breast cancer diagnosis, that Robin truly lived. In her darkest pain, Amber Lane appeared, not a cinematic lover or a loud affair. Amber quietly stayed, caring for Robin from her first hair loss to her final chemo. She was the first to make Robin feel loved truly, without pretense or roles. In late 2013, Robin posted on Facebook, "Stunning America." She came out as gay, thanking Amber as her partner. One honest sentence shook her career. Some brands pulled back, colleagues whispered, but Robin didn't retreat. She owned who she was, and from then, she was loved right. In 2023, after over 20 years, Robin and Amber married in Connecticut. The wedding was quiet, but her life's biggest milestone. No longer living for others' eyes, Robin walked down the aisle with a peace she'd never known. 10. Lynn Harris, Fake Love and a Flight from Himself. Lynn Harris shook American literature with novels about black gay men, shattering publishing norms. But behind his fame was a bitter journey to live authentically. As a 1970s college student, Harris was tied to a woman for years. Everyone thought it was a perfect romance, but it was a mask he wore to survive a society harsh to gay people. He loved her, but it was gratitude mixed with fear. Fear of discovery, fear of rejection, unable to bear it. He ended the relationship. By the 90s, Harris's private life exploded with Invisible Life. Readers saw it wasn't just fiction, it was a confession, a deep cut into the life he'd hidden. He couldn't maintain the facade. He came out, knowing the cost. But that made Lynn Harris an unignorable voice in the community he once feared. 9. Don Lemon, hiding the truth for decades to protect a false image. Don Lemon was a golden face of American TV, anchoring major CNN broadcasts with confident charisma and a perfect gentleman's image. But behind the lights and admiration was a life he didn't dare face. From the 90s to 2000s, the press noted his relationships with women. Many believed Don would soon marry, building a model family like other stars. But those were decades of a drawn-out act to conceal a truth he couldn't voice. In 2011, Don Lemon came out as gay in his memoir, Transparent. It shocked the public and detonated in the black community, where stigma lingered. He lost some viewers, faced criticism, and was isolated in the media industry he served. But Don didn't back down. He chose the hardest path, living authentically. After over a decade alone, in 2024, he married the man he loved, Tim Malone. The wedding faced public storms, but for Don, it was the first time he didn't have to pretend. 8. Brat, a fake romance, a hidden sexuality, and a wedding that rocked hip-hop. Brat, a pioneering African-American female rapper, rose in the 90s with fiery style, bold personality, and untouchable presence. She was a rare female force in a testosterone-driven rap world. But behind her tough exterior was a life of fear, secrecy, and conflict. In the late 90s, Brat publicly dated Allen Iverson. The media adored the power couple, but it was part of a shield she built. She dated men, but none made her feel like herself. The more famous she got, the more she smothered her true feelings. Hip-hop had no room for a gay female star, and she knew it better than anyone. For 2 decades, she wore a perfect mask until 2020. On Instagram, Brat revealed her relationship with Jessica Dupart, a woman, the only person who made her shed all fears. 2 years later, they married in Georgia. But the storm didn't end. She faced hate, criticism, and scrutiny from within and outside the industry. Brat stopped hiding, but the cost of living authentically wasn't cheap. It was a fight she embraced to the end. 7. Tevin Campbell, a dreamer trapped between stardom and a hidden sexuality. Tevin Campbell was a golden R&B voice of the 90s. With Can We Talk, he became a phenomenon, a teen idol, and a romantic icon for a generation. But behind that voice was a life heavy with secrets. As America swooned over Tevin, he appeared with women, smiling on magazine covers, playing the ideal showbiz man. But inside, he lived a life not his own. Relationships with women were fake, a mask to protect his image. Career and reputation. It wasn't love, it was obligation, a suffocation lasting decades. He lived in shadows where true feelings were buried, private desires only allowed in silence. Each stage performance, under glaring lights, was when he felt most alone. He sang for millions, but no one heard his true heart. In 2022, after nearly 3 decades in hiding, Tevin spoke his truth. He was gay. He stopped concealing, stopped enduring. But the price of freedom was years of stolen youth and love. No public romance, no real marriage, just an artist walking slowly, healing with a truth he once feared to voice. 6. Jason Collins, from a fake fiancé to a courageous icon for a generation. Jason Collins, an NBA star, was celebrated across courts, not just for his skills, but for his title, the first major U.S. athlete to come out as gay. In 2001, Jason got engaged to Carolyn Moose. The media cheered, fans adored, and the couple was a fixture at events. But behind the smiles and glamour, Jason carried a devastating secret. He didn't love her as a man loves his future wife. Holding her hand, smiling for cameras, he felt he This felt like betrayal not just to her, but to himself. He endured 8 years, 8 long years of fear, guilt, and suffocation in an invisible iron cage. In 2009, he canceled the engagement. It took 4 more years, until 2013, for Jason to shout his truth, shattering stereotypes. He came out as gay. The sports world shook. But this time, Jason lived. He stopped hiding. And beside him now isn't the fiancé people expected, but Brunson Green, the man who helped Jason find himself. 5. Michelle Ndegeocello, a life torn between 2 worlds of love. Michelle Ndegeocello is an irreplaceable 90s music icon, a multi-talented African-American artist who shattered genre boundaries from soul to jazz to rap. In the 80s, before fame, Michelle lived like many women loving men, having a son, believing she'd build a complete family. But reality was harsher. Her private life was a chaotic mess of conflict. She loved, but felt lost. A mother, yet never herself. Her struggle with sexuality nearly broke her in silence. She loved men. But she was also drawn to women, a clear, intense feeling she couldn't deny. By the 90s, Michelle couldn't take it. She declared herself bisexual, a bold move in a prejudiced industry. She openly loved Allison Riley, and her life turned a new page. But behind the love were unhealed wounds. Though embraced by the LGBTQ+ community, Michelle carried the shadows of years living in lies, loneliness, and fear. 4. Karamo Brown, a painful journey to find himself amid complex relationships. Karamo Brown, a standout on Queer Eye, is not just a TV personality, but a hero in the LGBTQ+ community. But behind the stage lights is a painful journey of grappling with love and sexuality. In the early 2000s, as his career rose, Karamo was in a relationship with a woman. They had a son, Jason, and Karamo believed this was all he needed: a family, love, a child. But soon, an undeniable truth unraveled everything. Karamo felt a strong pull toward men, realizing he was gay. His love for his son couldn't erase the crushing inner conflict. The relationship ended, but the pain of that struggle lingered. In 2004, Karamo came out on The Real World Philadelphia, a courageous but painful turning point. He faced rejection from his conservative family and peers. Later, he found love with Ian Jordan, but instability resurfaced. Their engagement ended. Karamo learned that before loving another, he had to love himself. 3. Angelica Ross, a tearful story of love and a trans journey. Angelica Ross, famed for Pose, is not just a screen icon, but a pioneer for LGBTQ+ rights. In the 2000s, Angelica lived in a world of lies and inner struggle. She began a relationship with a man, publicly dating, a seemingly ideal couple, but only Angelica knew she wasn't the person he thought. Living in a body not hers tore her apart, straining the relationship. One day, she walked away, not because love faded, but because she couldn't live a lie. In the 2010s, as her acting career began, Angelica came out as a trans woman. This sparked a painful fight, not just with society, but with family and friends. She faced prejudice and disappointment from loved ones. Yet, Angelica didn't turn back, steadfast in living authentically. That journey brought loneliness, with love seeming out of reach. But with resilience, Angelica found peace in herself. Finding love wasn't easy, but she learned to love herself and found strength in that freedom. 2. Raven-Symoné, a journey of love and hidden freedom. Raven-Symoné, a Disney superstar, is known for her acting and singing, but also as a symbol of bold change in the LGBTQ+ community. In the 2000s, Raven was a shining star, publicly dating a man in a relationship media deemed perfect. But inside, that love was never whole. She cared for him but never felt right. Fear of discovery and self-rejection strained the relationship, leading to its end. The breakup was tough, but Raven knew she couldn't live a lie. In 2013, a shock hit Raven came out via a tweet. "I can finally love who I want." It wasn't just a personal shift, but a beacon for a new LGBTQ+ generation. Yet, freedom came with challenges, criticism, judgment from friends, family, and the public. In her journey, Raven found true love with Asmarie Livingston, a woman, and faced countless storms. That love wasn't easy, with relentless societal pressure. But Raven didn't give up. She found herself and loved herself, claiming true freedom. In 2020, after a long quest for happiness and freedom, Raven married Miranda Mady, a major milestone. Yet, the scars in her heart remain. Raven's story isn't just about finding love, but a testament to strength, courage, and resilience in living authentically. 1. Frank Ocean, a journey sacrificing love for truth. Frank Ocean, one of music's greatest artists, delivered soulful hits, but behind them is a tearful tale of love and self-struggle. In the early 2000s, as his career began, Frank dated a woman, drawing media attention, but he soon realized his true love wasn't with her, but with men. Yet, public and industry expectations forced him to hide his feelings. The relationship ended, and though not out, Frank felt a fleeting freedom. In 2012, Frank shocked the world via a Tumblr post, sharing his first love with a man at 19. It stunned the hip-hop community and fans. After that bold moment, Frank earned LGBTQ+ support, becoming a symbol of courage and freedom. But behind the rebellion, his heart bore deep wounds. Unfulfilled relationships and love's loneliness left him aching. In long nights, amid his melodies, he felt he'd lost a vital piece of his heart. That's the truth behind the glamour lie secrets not everyone dares face. Marriages staged to please society while hearts silently scream for rescue. Were they wrong, or was it the price of surviving a Hollywood that forbids truth? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more hidden showbiz truths, subscribe and hit the bell now.